Okay, hello, welcome to Life Tree Astrology. I'm Pia. It's been a while since I've done a video, and it's nice to be back. And I have still been doing my writing, my horoscopes for my website on my post site, but things have been a little bit crazy and busy. So it's nice to be back doing a video for everybody, and I hope you're all well. And we're going to be talking about the new moon in Gemini. And you can see that I've shared my screen. You can ignore the houses for the moment because I will be going through the rising signs and the horoscopes for everybody at the end or after the introduction. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about the new moon. So the new moon is happening in Gemini. So a new moon represents new beginnings, often closures as well, because in order for us to have new beginnings, often things need to be finished or to be closed or to fall away, or we need to let go of something to allow something new to seed, to begin in our lives. And so this new moon is in Gemini, and Gemini is the masculine mutable air sign of Mercury. And so Mercury here in his air sign, it's all about communication. It's all about ideas. It's all about intellect, cognition. The Gemini represents not just communication, but media, and that could be, propaganda as well. It can be publishing. It's any type of communication, rumors, whispers, gossip, all of that. So it all comes under Gemini. And this new moon is special as well in the sense that it is being supercharged by Uranus as well. So you have Uranus, the planet called the Great Awakener, the Great Disruptor, and Uranus is, moved into Gemini recently. And so it's very interesting that it's here with this new moon. Some people say, especially more sort of in more recent kind of astrological theory, believe that Uranus is like a higher octave of Mercury. I'm not sure about that, but certainly Uranus has that idea of sudden breakthroughs. It's one of the outer planets, and it's about sudden breakthroughs, disruptions, eccentricity, sort of having epiphanies, sudden ideas. It's about innovation. It's very future orientated, and certainly it's connected to electricity. So that sort of lightning strike of a sudden epiphany or an idea, but it can also be sudden events that really, that are completely unexpected and unforeseen, and that can really shift your life. And Uranus, it is a planet that wants you to be authentic. And so it's one of those planets that when it moves through your chart and hits one of your personal planets, especially in hard sign, it causes it brings change. Or when I say causes, the planets are actually just reflections, mirrors really, but it coincides with great change. Okay, apologies. I had to have a little break. Of an emergency call from my friend. So we were talking about Uranus. So yeah, Uranus has a reputation for being an awakener, a disruptor, sort of disrupting your life to make you follow the right path in a sense. Okay. Sometimes when Uranus comes into your life, it can make you do slightly crazy things. So you need to be careful that you are not sort of, being impulsive. But certainly having Uranus here with this new moon gives it that extra electrical quality of unexpectedness, that sort of sense of breakthrough, sudden realizations, unexpected communications and developments that really kind of envelop that the newness or the seeds of this new moon. And also when we have a look at this new moon, as I mentioned earlier, it's ruled by Mercury. And where is Mercury? Mercury is sitting in the house next door in Cancer, and it is traveling together with Jupiter. And Jupiter is the greater benefic. It is, and it's exaltation in Cancer. So it is especially benefic during this time. And Jupiter is expansion, it is fortune, it is blessings, it is wisdom, all of those things and more. And so when it is exalted here in the sort of nurturing waters of Cancer, you know, with Cancer, it's very life affirming, it's very fecund. And so now my dog wants to go outside. 2 seconds. Yeah, so Jupiter really thrives in that sense of being able to expand, to promote growth. And so so Mercury in that sense really benefits from having the greater benefic traveling with him. And Mercury in Cancer has that gift of in water being more emotive, more intuitive. And gains that emotional wisdom, emotional intelligence here in Cancer with Jupiter traveling. And what you'll notice is that Mercury is in the sign of the moon, because Cancer is the moon sign. And the moon sitting here is in Gemini, which is Mercury's home sign. So because the moon and Mercury are in each other's signs, we call this mutual reception. And that means that the two houses have a special connection, a greater understanding and support of each other. Because usually when two planets are in adjacent houses, we say that they're in aversion because they can't actually aspect or see each other. But this mutual reception gives them that connection and a greater sort of sympathy between the two houses. So in that sense, I really feel that this new moon has that sense of blessings about it, and that whatever comes to you during this new moon, which is on the 15th, here in Australia, that's at 10:52 in Perth, in the morning. That's Australian Western time. And so whatever comes with this new moon, there's a sense of really a new door opening, an unexpected door opening, and a sense that it is something that is very positive for our growth, for your growth, for my growth. So yeah. What else? The other thing that I forgot to mention too is that Uranus, I talked about epiphanies and insight and breakthroughs. It is also, Richard Tarnas has, connected it to the myth of Prometheus. So Prometheus was a titan who stole the fire from the gods and gave the fire to mankind, or to humankind. He was punished for that. But I love that there is a sense of divine knowledge, understanding, perhaps a paradigm shift coming to us through this new moon. Right, what else did I want to mention? So I've mentioned Jupiter. The other thing that there's two more things that I just want to mention. The other thing is that you'll notice that Uranus is trine to Pluto. So Pluto has, is in Aquarius. It's going to be in there for close to 20 years. It's already been in there for about, I guess, 1.5, 2 years now. And Pluto is the sign of deconstruction and regeneration. So Pluto is very much about power. Pluto brings up any deep, powerful energies or emotions that are suppressed, and they often can, the pressure will build up and they'll come flying out. So think about a bit like a volcano when you've got the magma building up and that pressure, and suddenly the volcano just erupts. So Pluto has a tendency to bring out or to release any deep-seated emotions, and often these emotions are very deep, difficult emotions, but it also has this feeling of, although it can be kind of troubling, or, you know, if we're looking at nature, violent, that sort of sense of eruption, from that destruction, then you see that new life grows, and all the nutrients are released out into the soil, and you have this plants growing again. So, you know, Pluto is the sign of destruction, but also regeneration as well. And it represents, you know, the wealth underneath the ground. It was connected to agriculture as well, traditionally. So that is that Pluto. And so Pluto it's currently retrograde, but it is in this very harmonious alignment to Uranus here in Gemini, and that is called a trine. And that means that Pluto will bring up changes in that area of systems and society and structures, the collective. And, you know, for you personally, when I go through the horoscopes, have a look at which house that is in for you. But whatever is deconstructed and what is rebirthed in this place is harmoniously linked to that Uranus in Gemini. So in a sense, they're working together, supporting each other. So whatever sudden changes, realizations that are happening in that Gemini space is part of that larger evolution that Pluto is bringing in Aquarius. And one more thing too is that we have the nodes of the moon. So the nodes of the moon have been traveling through here for a couple of years, or 1.5 so far. And the south node here in Virgo, opposing the north node here in Pisces. So the south node is very much about detachment and letting go, and letting go of material attachments, moving to a more sort of spiritual philosophy. And if we see the south node here in Virgo, it's very much about letting go of, you know, Virgo has that sense of planning and control, because Virgo is the sign of the, you know, the harvest and preparing for winter. So Virgo has that sign of fussing, trying to get everything right before winter comes, and certainly has that energy on the shadow side of perhaps being a little bit controlling, a little bit critical, a little bit perfectionist. And so whatever area of Virgo it sits within your life. So for me, for example, it's my second house, my area of livelihood and work. It's releasing something about that, those Virgo tendencies. And then on the other side, you have the North Node here. The North Node is really about a desire for something. It's often about what the soul desires to experience, to attain. And there are different thinkings about this. So, for example, in Vedic astrology, you know, that can be wanting too much of something. So it can be seen as a negative thing. Certainly in evolutionary and more modern astrology, they say that that's where your soul's growth, you know, that you are evolving or moving towards that part of your life there in Pisces. And in traditional Hellenistic astrology, it's more talking about the fact that it expands whatever it touches, that North Node. But certainly, you know, in the sign of Pisces, which is the sign, the water sign, the boundarylessness, or, you know, no boundaries. It's about connection, empathy, spiritual union, and you know, very deep feelings. So it's interesting there that, you know, for me, that is my 8th house. So that is an area where you will probably be feeling some sort of desire to experience something within that part of your life. And so what's really interesting about this, you know, you have this nodal axis that, you know, affects all of us. And then you have Uranus. Now, Uranus is sitting here in Gemini with the moon, but it's we call it at the bending of the nodes because it's at 90 degrees from that north node and the south node. It's at the northern bending. And for me, as I've been ruminating over this new moon, I really see this Uranus as providing a counterpoint to some of these energies that we've been dealing with, you know, releasing our Virgo tendencies, opening up towards that sort of greater flow and compassion and connection in Pisces. And then Uranus traveling with this moon, it's bringing up a counterpoint, something, a new understanding, a new knowledge, a new event, a new discovery of a part of ourselves, which kind of gives us, the way I see it, it gives us an alternative that doesn't cancel the axis. It doesn't fix anything. It doesn't, you know, it could be a contrast. There could be some friction perhaps, but I see it almost like a counterpoint of an existing or a new reality that becomes that you suddenly become aware of, some sort of knowledge or understanding. So yeah, very, very interesting having that that Uranus. I guess you could say it's a kind of evolution of your mind, of your soul, of your thinking. Yeah, so very, very interesting. What else did I want to say? I think that is it. I go into, yeah, just want to mention a couple more things. So we've had Venus has just moved into Leo. As a Leo rising myself, I love this. This feels really, really nice. Having had much more of an emphasis as a Leo with our on our 12th house, it feels nice to have the lesser benefic Venus bringing harmony, blessings into the Leo space. Leo obviously is very creative. It's very heart-based energy. It's about loyalty. It's about appreciation. It's about being seen, sharing your light with everybody. So yeah, I love this. So it's very beautiful having Venus here. Just a small side note that Venus is going to, in a couple of days, oppose Pluto. So with Pluto here in the 11th house, that could be a moment of a bit of power play, a little bit of perhaps jealousy in relationships. That's just doesn't have to be, but there could be a bit of a push and pull between me and others, being appreciated, being seen, and feeling like perhaps others are not giving you that appreciation. But anyway, that's only temporary, but it's just something to be aware of. Okay, I think I'm going to move into the individual horoscopes. I am not going to spend too long on it because I think I've got to get this uploaded and done before tomorrow. So anyway, let's begin with Aries. Okay, so Aries, this is, so I've got Aries here in the first house, and you've got the new moon sitting in your third house. So this is very much about new beginnings in your local neighborhood, with your neighbors, with your siblings. Something new is seeding, beginning. It could be quite a brilliant idea. It could be unexpected. It could be a little bit rebellious here with Uranus. And the third house represents also your mind. So it's your patterns of your mind, how you think, how you communicate. It could be a project that you're starting, a media project in particular, or just a new way of thinking, something that you've realized that's really changed your whole perspective. So that's here for the new moon. And it's obviously, as I mentioned earlier in my introduction, it's connected here to your fourth house. So there is a strong connection to whatever is manifesting or shifting in your third house, which could also be, by the way, lots of short trips as well. But there's a strong connection here to your house of home, your parents, your family, your personal space. And I would say it's very benefic as well. So you have this beautiful Jupiter who's exalted here, really, I think, allowing your Mercury to be particularly expressive about how you feel. So you'd be able to more expressive with loved ones and family to let them know how you feel. And so that whatever is growing and seeding in your third house, they're very much connected, that third and fourth house. And then you've got Venus, who's just moved into your fifth house of creativity, joy, authentic expression, romance, children. So just a really beautiful time. You can hear Ruben, that's my dog, my Groodle, having a good bark out there. Yeah, so I think that's the main thing I just wanted to say as well. And also, you have Pluto here in your 11th house of friends, your aspirations, your allies, your mentors. And there's some, over the next 20 years, there's going to be some really big changes. And I think whatever comes with this new moon here with Uranus in your third house, your local environment, your mind, that, that is going to be a reflection of this larger evolution that Pluto is bringing. All right, I think that is it. So thank you very much, Aries. I'm just going to go and tell my doggy to stop barking now. Okay, so Taurus, this new moon is happening in your second house. So your second house is your house of livelihood. It's your material resources. It's how you support yourself, how you survive, how you look after yourself, how you value and the worth that you put associate with yourself. And so here in the second house, especially here with Uranus, there could be some really unexpected new beginnings. That could be something new in the way that you support yourself. It could be an unexpected development, or perhaps you're changing livelihoods, getting a new job, all of those things. And with that connection to the third house here, you've got that mutual reception between your second and your third house. You've got Jupiter here with Mercury in your third house. That is your thinking, the patterns of your mind, the local area, your neighborhood, your community. It's any projects that you're doing within the local neighborhood. It's the short trips that you're doing, the commerce. So that is really expansive at the moment and has been for quite a while with Jupiter there, and with Mercury there. Mercury is really basking in that beneficence of Jupiter. So this could be something related to supporting yourself, jobs, projects, media projects in particular that are operating within that local neighborhood, and that's obviously very sort of potentially nurturing, supportive, protective of the people that you care for, or your tribe. And you've got Mars going through your first house as well, Taurus. So you've probably got a little bit more energy than usual. Just make sure that with Mars in your first house that you express that energy of Mars. Make sure you keep doing some exercise, or just getting some of that sort of martial drive out, that Mars energy out of yourself, so that you don't get frustrated or angry, or that it sort of sits in your body. And you've got Venus moving through your fourth house. So this really Venus has just moved into your Leo fourth house. So this is beautiful transit for your home, your family, your parents. It really signifies a time of greater harmony, greater attraction, beauty. So yeah. And oh yeah, and you've got Pluto in your 10th house. Obviously, that's a long-term transit, bringing lots of change over the next 18 or so years. And Pluto, something about what's changing for you in your sense of career, or your public reputation or public actions. Uranus in your second house is really bringing that change, perhaps unexpectedly, and that this new moon or whatever manifests in your house of livelihood and material resources and finances is a little part of that sort of evolution as well, of what you do in the world and how you're seen as well. All right, okay, thank you so much, Taurus. I'm going to move on to Gemini. Okay, Gemini. So this new moon is happening in your first house. This is your first house of you, your body, yourself, your identity. your temperament. And so there's something new starting here for you. You know, it could be something depending, you know, obviously on your chart, but it could be something smaller, it could be something large. So this could be that you discover something about yourself or about the world that really changes your the way you see the world, your identity, the way that you think. It could be something to do with your body. You know, it could be something as small as a haircut. It could be a larger thing. With Uranus here, there's that sense of rebellion or starting something, doing something a little bit different that goes against the grain, something unexpected. And obviously there is that connection as well to your second house. So your second house, you've got Jupiter moving through here with Mercury, bringing expansion, emotional wisdom, and nurturance, coming from your livelihood and your material resources. So whatever's shifting or changing for you, yourself, how you know, your body, your mind, all of those things, your emotions, your appearance as well. It is very much connected to this sort of growth, emotional growth, and emotional intelligence, then wisdom that's really developing here in your second house of material resources and livelihood. And you've got Venus that's just moved into your third house of the third house. I've heard people call it the fishbowl of your life. It's your local environment. It's your mind. It's your day-to-day mind. The patterns of thinking. It could be learning. It could be your neighbors, siblings, short trips and travels in the local neighborhood. And it's your communication within your local environment. So that could be conversations with neighbors, or it could be podcasts, or it could be projects that are happening in your community. Over the long term, you've got Pluto moving through your ninth house of God, of belief, the way that you see the world, philosophy, religion, foreign cultures, long distance travels. It's like your higher mind, higher learning. And so that is trining Uranus in your first house. So there's a real sense of shift in how you see the world and your position in the world, that goes beyond that sense of day-to-day life for your community, that sort of higher vision of meaning. And being in a trine to Uranus here in your first house, that's something that really speaks to a flow, a harmonious flow and shift in your identity and how you see yourself as well. So very, very interesting. I'd love to have some comments to let you know, to let me know. If you could let me know how that's going for you, Gemini, I'll be very interested. But yeah, okay. All right, I'm going to move on. So let's have a look at having a look at Cancer. So Cancer, this new moon is happening in your 12th house. So your 12th house is the it's your hidden house. Your 12th house is the house of, we say, your unconscious. It's the liminal spaces. It's the part of your psyche that often is not very apparent to you. But things that sort of we hold within that operate kind of from the darkness, if you know what I mean. So it could be, you know, memories that we're holding on to. It could be sorrows. It can be regrets. I said it could be isolation. But the 12th house as well, I mean, it's also very spiritual as well. So it could be a person who, you know, it could be spiritual practice, somebody who's very religious. It represents hospitals and institutions and dreams as well, as in not dreams as in what you do at nighttime, and also foreign places as well. So it's called the house of undoing because often we're not so aware what sits in the 12th house. And so really the 12th house, you know, it can be anxieties or sense of isolation, but it could just be, you know, getting away and having a bit of a retreat in solitude as well. So there's a sense that there's something new happening here in the 12th house for you. So that could be going away on a retreat, It could be having a sort of epiphany or realization about something that's been holding you back, some sort of anxiety or fear. It could be you're starting therapy, or a new sort of spiritual practice such as meditation, or depending on what your chart is, sometimes people who have planets here, it can be something that they work in hospitals, or they actually work in a sort of a job that provides service to people who are isolated, or who have had a rough life. So yeah, so that's the 12th house. And so again, I feel that this is quite a positive new start. So especially for you, Cancer, this is, you're ruled by the moon. And the ruler of this new moon is Mercury, and Mercury is sitting in your first house, and Mercury is traveling here with Jupiter, who, you're very lucky. You've had exalted Jupiter moon through your first house for some time now, or the better part of a year. And so I feel that whatever, there's big emotional growth happening for you at the moment, and that this new moon is almost a bit of a new start for your psyche, for your soul, any sort of karmic energies that have been there. And I really feel that's positive. When I see Uranus in the 12th house, I tend to, I guess, my experience is that there's a sense of messages coming through to you, through dreams or through voices, sort of epiphanies or messages that come from the other side, if you know what I mean. So a beautiful time. And then you've got Venus has moved into your second house of livelihood, material resources. That bodes really well for, it could be financial growth, for new opportunities coming in, very good harmonious relationships with people through your work, or however it is that you make a living. Interestingly too, you've got Pluto here moving through your 8th house of other people's money, and karmic relationships, entanglements, debts, that can also be inheritances, investments. And so there's that beautiful trine happening here to your 12th house as well. So whatever is shifting the 8th house, which is a hidden house as well, so that can also be the hidden parts of our psyche, psychology, taboo subjects. I see this as a very positive thing. Something is unlocking, or perhaps you're becoming aware of something in those sort of hidden places of your psyche that's shifting something positively for you. All right. Okay, thank you so much, Cancer. I am going to move on to Leo. Leo, I'm a Leo rising as well. So Leo, this new moon is happening in our 11th house. So very, very interesting. The 11th house is the house of our friends, our alliances, people that we have common interests with, and share similar values, or we have similar goals. So it could be mentors, allies, or just friends, social groups. So here in Gemini, there's a new beginning. And certainly here with Uranus, there's a sense of unexpected, brilliant ideas, breakthroughs, perhaps something a little bit eccentric, unconventional, something new, innovative, that's starting here in your 11th house. And I have felt that this is a really lovely counterpoint to having the nodes in our 2nd and 8th house. Obviously, it depends on what your personal chart and where your planets are. For me, this has been quite a significant, having the nodes here in the 2nd and 8th house, because it's activated some real interesting personal planets and alignments. But that sense of letting go of that perfectionist idea in our livelihood and what it is that we do for a living. Perhaps you've been approaching your job, your material resources, your livelihood in a way that's been a little bit restrictive, a little bit controlling. That's kind of suppressed a sense of freedom, or just inspiration and new ways of doing things. And in the 8th house here, there's a sense of growth in your Pisces 8th house. this can certainly be like a desire for something new, something material, a desire for perhaps a project that you're doing with somebody where your finances are combined. It could be a desire for studying psychology, a desire for something more sort of taboo, occult topics. And it could also be a desire to be more interdependent with somebody. All of those things. So, you know, eighth house is a very interesting, complex house, a very hidden house. So it's very much, I mean, certainly for me, it's been about, you know, second house, independence versus eighth house, interdependence or dependency, and those sort of karmic entanglements that we have. And so this 11th house is a beautiful counterpoint to that. So this could be changing what your aspirations are as well. What are your long-term goals, you know, here in your Gemini 11th house? And, you know, we've got, Leo, you've got Jupiter and Mercury in your 12th house. So this is very beautiful. It's been I think it's been a really challenging time for me the last year. So I'm just thankful that Jupiter's here at all. I can't imagine what it would have been like without Jupiter in the 12th house. As in, I'm glad it's there. So it's, you know, Jupiter, hopefully, I'm hoping that you Leo risings agree with me. There's been a lot of healing, a lot of sorting and processing and detachment from perhaps more difficult areas of our psyche and our life. And so again, because this 12th house is in mutual reception, because, you know, Mercury is in the moon sign, we've got the moon in Mercury sign, there's a sort of a sympathy, a connection here, a support. So whatever is starting here in the 11th house with social groups and friends, alliances, I think is really being supported and supports in turn your psyche and some of those deeper spiritual aspects of ourselves that are not always so easy, you know. And thank goodness we've got Venus moving into Leo in the first house. I got my little sun card out, and my little Venus earrings out here. I celebrate. I feel really excited about having Venus in the first house. Just that sense of greater harmony, greater joy, greater love for ourselves and for other people as well. So to really bring out that sort of heartfelt energy, the light in us Leo rising. So and I'm really looking forward to obviously Jupiter following Venus there. Sort of, you know, Venus moves out, I think it's 10th of July, and then hands the baton on to Jupiter, who then moves into our first house. So really looking forward to that. Okay, I think that is it. Oh, just one more thing. Pluto has been moving through our 7th house since 2024. And yeah, it's really, really interesting. I've sort of been meditating on that Pluto in the 7th house, and I think it's really bringing out not just partnerships, obviously for partnerships as well, if you're in a committed partnership, but also if you're single, like me. I think I really noticed that it's bringing up how I meet people just in one-on-one relationships, full stop. And so I really think that with Pluto moving through that 7th house, if we have anything, how am I going to say this? If we are meeting people in a way that is not of equal power dynamics, for example, if we're being overbearing, or if we're putting ourselves down, or if we are not, you know, meeting people on an equal footing, if we are suppressing aspects within a relationship because we are afraid to express it or to assert ourselves, or vice versa. So I think there's that real sense of washing out, or I should say blowing out anything that's not working for us, because, you know, the 7th house, obviously it's a mirror for us, the other person. And so it's really interesting that this Pluto too is trining this Uranus, who's also with this new moon as well. So I really feel like, you know, some of the changes that are coming into this 11th house of communication, or I'm calling it communication because of its Gemini, but you know, friends and social groups and sort of a sense of community, what you're doing together, is really a big part of our growth in terms of our one-on-one relationships and the dynamics and sort of power dynamics of that. And it's really interesting too, because, you know, I'm actually doing my first, my second, but I'm involved in a, you know, an art exhibition at the moment, which is just really beautiful and I'm really loving it. So again, a lot of growth happening here with Uranus in our 11th house, starting with this new moon. Thanks, Leo, for listening. I'm going to move on. All right. Thanks, Leo. All right. Virgo. So, Virgo, this new moon is happening in your 10th house. So this is about some new beginning in your professional sphere, in your job, in your professional standing, in your reputation. Again, you've got Uranus here, which brings that sort of sudden, unexpected element to it. It could be a sense of perhaps some rebellion, something future-orientated, something innovative, an amazing idea. Whatever it is, there's something new seeding in your public house of career, in your professional house. And it's intimately linked to your Cancer house, your 11th house. So these are your allies, your friends, your social groups. This is your long-term aspirations as well. And you've got Jupiter here, the benefic, exalted Jupiter, very, very happy here in the 11th house. You know, bringing you beautiful emotional support, emotional wisdom and growth, especially here with Mercury as well. So there's this beautiful connection between your Cancer house and 11th house and your professional house, your 10th house. So I really get a sense here that the new beginnings that are starting in your 10th house are beautifully supported by your colleagues, your friends, perhaps a mentor, a teacher as well, especially with Jupiter here. And that, you know, vice versa, there could be some sort of collaborative project or a teacher that's helping you start something new professionally as well, or some sort of public action or work that you're doing. And you've got, let's have a look, we've got Pluto in your 6th house. So there's been some, look, it's going to be ongoing for, you know, almost 18 years, because Pluto's been there already for quite some time, almost 2 years. But there's big changes happening in your 6th house of health and work and service. This is sort of your day-to-day house. You know, the 6th house is all the things that we have to do to keep our life running smoothly. You know, paying bills, going shopping, fixing things around the house, or going to work. It's your work colleagues. So, you know, health routines as well, eating well, going for some exercise. So all of these things, 6th house, are going through some big changes over that 20-year period that Pluto is in the 6th house. Pluto is in that beautiful trine to Uranus here in your 10th house. So there is a sense that whatever is beginning here in your 10th house with this Uranus and this new moon is a part of this bigger evolution, sort of deconstruction and the rebirth of your daily habits, the way that you meet your obligations, the way that you live your life day to day, and the way that you provide service to people, and perhaps even sort of your power dynamics that you have with people at work as well. So these are positive things. So so the changes in the 10th house are really a part of that Pluto evolution here in your 6th house. And you've just got Venus has moved into your 12th house as well. So that is a lovely transit as well. 12th house is your psyche, the parts of you that are often hidden to yourself, parts of our unconscious. 12th house is those hidden parts of your psyche. It could be your dreams. It can be your spiritual practices. So it's a wonderful time for a retreat or some meditation. Yeah, so beautiful. And what else was I going to talk about for you, Virgo? Yeah, and you've also got the nodes in your first house. So you've got the south node in your first house, and you've got the north node in your seventh house. So that's a very angular place to have, a very notable place to have the nodes. So you would have found that, you know, for the time that the north node has been in here, it's really been about letting go or detaching from certain aspects of yourself or parts of your identity that you probably are moving away from or don't need anymore. So, and that's not always easy when we're talking about who we are, how we see ourselves, especially because it's being reflected in your seventh house. So your seventh house is the house of the other in one-on-one relationships. If you have a partner or a partnership, of course, that is reflected. So whatever it is that you're letting go of in terms of your own identity and your own values, and your own, you know, what's important to you in life and what you're interested in, for example, and what you need as a person, as that is shifting and you're letting go of stuff, obviously that's also going to change things for your seventh house. And there's a real desire here with the north node to a desire for the other, okay, a desire for your partner or for a partnership that gives you that connection, that empathy, that compassion that you're longing for as well. So yeah, so that's really beautiful. And that Uranus and the new moon here, again, I feel like it's a real counterpoint. There's a new part of yourself that you're really discovering in terms of how you relate to the public, your public self, what it is that you contribute in the world or what you're known for, your professional life. So I really feel that there's something new growing here for you, Virgo, and that you might actually be surprised that you know, you have a lot more ambition or have more long-term goals than you even knew. So they could be shifting as well, as well as, you know, expansion of the people that you call your friends, your colleagues, your social groups, your allies as well. All right. Thank you so much. I'll talk to you next time, Virgo. Okay. So Libra, this new moon is happening in your ninth house of God. This is the house of where the sun rejoices, which is beautiful because the sun is actually in here together with the moon, as it is when there is a new moon. But this is the house of belief, of faith, of religion, spirituality, of higher learning, of foreign places, foreign cultures, philosophy, universities, learning, and it's also the house of foreign travels as well, pilgrimages, all of those things. So there's something new starting here for you, Libra. So you could be planning a beautiful trip overseas. You could be planning perhaps to go back to university, or perhaps you have just started studying again. It could be a new interest in some sort of spiritual field, astrology, for example, or perhaps it could be, yeah, some sort of spiritual journey or study. And so with Uranus here as well, there is that sense of something being a little bit unexpected, a little bit unconventional. Uranus really does have that sort of connection, I think, in the ninth house to messages, connections to intelligence or belief or entities in different realms, I would say as well. So this is really beautiful here for your ninth house. And you have this connection to the 10th house as well. So we talked about that. You've got exalted Jupiter here with Mercury in your 10th house in Cancer. So there is spiritual, emotional growth here and wisdom building in terms of your career, your public actions, with that mutual reception. So there's that interaction between your search for greater meaning in the 9th house, or perhaps that could be traveling or studying, or some sort of spiritual study or practice, and who you are and what you're becoming known for in your public life as well, in your public self. So there's things shifting there as well. And then you've got Venus moving into your 11th house, which is a really beautiful place. So Venus moving into your house of friends and allies and social groups, you're going to find that there's a lot of beautiful harmony with your friends and social groups. Allies, you're going to be attracting people because you're more vibrant and sort of attractive at the moment. You're feeling more attractive. So I'm seeing a lot of felicitous times with friends, doing enjoyable things together. Yeah, and then you've got in your 5th house, you've got Pluto here in your 5th house. So I love that. 5th house here is really bringing big change over the next 18 years or so, in how you enjoy yourself, how you find your joy, what brings you pleasure, authentic pleasure in your private life. And that can be something artistic. It could be something creative, or an activity or a hobby. It could be romance. There's a sense of, it could be with children as well, but there's something really deep that's sort of shifting and growing for you. Some sort of a deconstruction or a reconstruction as well within that 5th house. Yeah, I think that's all I wanted to say, Libra. So wishing you all the best until I see you next time. Okay, Scorpio. So Scorpio, this new moon is happening in your 8th house. Your 8th house is the house of shared resources. It's a hidden house, because from the 1st house here, you can't, there's no direct aspect to the 8th house. So the 8th house has this reputation for being hidden, a liminal space. It's sometimes difficult for us to know what's going on here in the 8th house, but it's about what's the house of transformation and death. It's the house of debts and other people's money, investments, inheritances. And it's also sort of the complex sort of soul connections or entanglements that we have with people in our lives as well. Karmic entanglements, you could say. And so the 8th house as well is very much about interdependence or dependency, financial or emotional at times as well. And so there's a new moon here. So the new moon, new beginning with Uranus here, something very interesting is happening. Something new is coming to light. That could very much be information. I'm very aware that, for you, Scorpio, you're able to see through things very deeply to the heart of matters, okay? You have a really strong sense of intuition. It's very hard, you can smell when something's not right, Scorpio, as in your intuition goes, something's not quite right here. But I think in the 8th house here, especially with Gemini, you might come across some new information, or just research something, learn some new information. But I think it's going to be positive information, especially since you've got that the ruler of your 8th house being Mercury here, traveling with an exalted Jupiter in your 9th house of God, of belief, of religion, higher learning, foreign travels. So there is that sense of discovering something about a very intimate part of your life, perhaps quite sudden, or a sudden realization, or something that you discover that I think in some sense really liberates you, and gives allows you to really expand on this ninth house of searching for greater meaning, foreign travels or new learnings, or some sort of study of, it could be university, it could be spiritual studies, it could be, for example, astrological studies, any of those things. Or a pilgrimage overseas, long distance travel, or taking a job overseas. And that could very well be, so you've got Venus here in your 10th house, really bringing blessings to your career, to your professional standing, your public actions. You could really get a chance perhaps to shine as a leader during this time, or you're going to be very you're going to be very visible at this time, Scorpio. So it bodes really well for you professionally. And what else did I want to say? Oh yeah, you've got Pluto here in your 4th house. So Pluto is really over the next 18 years bringing big changes to your most private sphere, so your parents' home and family. And I think, you're going to find that over the next 18 years, there's going to be a lot of growth here, a lot of letting go, a lot of things coming up for you that are going to help you to release and regenerate within this space. And so Pluto here is in a beautiful trine to Uranus with the new moon here in your 8th house. So I really get a sense, especially, with the connection here of Cancer as well, that there is a real sense of some shift that with this new moon, some shift, closure, something new starting, perhaps very much connected to family. So something is shifting for your higher good related to family, something revealed that's going to give you greater freedom as well. All right, I think that's it. Wishing you all the best, Scorpio. All right, and I'll talk to you next time. Okay, Sagittarius. So Sagittarius, this new moon is happening in your 7th house. So new beginnings for you in relationships, in partnerships. Now it could be a new beginning of a partnership, or it could be a new aspect within an existing partnership. It could be something quite exciting, something new, a little bit different, especially here with Uranus. Something a little bit experimental, a sense, Uranus can be something unexpected starting. Uranus also has that idea of kind of wanting freedom, authenticity. So this could be a feeling of doing something that's going to give you a little bit more freedom, a bit of more liberation. And there is that connection because obviously we've got that mutual reception between the moon and Mercury here in Cancer. And you've got exalted Jupiter here in Cancer. So there's a sense of growth in terms of shared resources that you have. That could be with family or a loved one or some sort of business partnership. There is a real blessings coming from Jupiter here. So that could be in it an inheritance, an investment, giving you really good gains. And it could be, just like a lot of healing, perhaps with any sort of difficult or complex relationships that you have with people that you're, interlinked with, sort of entangled with. It could be a partner's money as well. So certainly I would say with the new moon here, it could be that you and your partner, his money, your money together, there's some gains there as well. And you've got Venus moving into your 9th house, so that's beautiful. That could signify blessings and beauty, in terms of going traveling overseas or perhaps starting some new studies, some beautiful spiritual practice or study that you're doing. And what else can I tell you, Sagittarius? I think that's it. Oh, Pluto in your 3rd house. So Pluto is here shaking up your local environment, your community, the way that you think, the way that you learn day to day, your siblings, your local environment. And there's a beautiful trine there to Uranus. So whatever shifts in the seventh house here is part of a larger sort of ongoing change in the third house as well. So anyway, thank you so much, Sagittarius. I'll speak to you next time. Okay, so Capricorn, this new moon is happening in your sixth house. So this is looking at new beginnings within your day-to-day routines and in how they are impact your health, and how they reflect how you meet your obligations or your chores or your life admin stuff, your work environment, and sort of the service, basically. So it's health, work, and service. And with the new moon here, especially with Uranus, there is something new beginning. That could be a new health routine. With Uranus, it could talk about sort of alternative therapy, or a sudden event that's unexpected that really changes something about your sixth house, changes your work environment, something suddenly happening with co-workers. It could be, yeah, just a change in your obligations. And I generally, I wouldn't be worried. I think it's generally positive because you've got the ruler of this new moon being Mercury, and Mercury sitting in your seventh house of partnership with an exalted Jupiter. So there's a sense of expansion, nurturing, protectiveness from your seventh house of relationship. So that connection between the seventh and sixth house, whatever is starting in your sixth house, is beautifully supported and interconnected with your relationship with others, and there's that beautiful blessings coming from Jupiter. And you also have Venus that's just moved into your eighth house of shared resources, and your karmic entanglements. This is the house of occult or taboo subjects, the house of death and inheritance and transformation as well. So with Venus here in Leo, there is blessings coming, a sense of harmony with people. This is a wonderful time to heal any difficult relationships, because Venus brings sort of harmony to our relationships as well. Financially, she represents money as well, so there could be some positive financial developments with money here as well. Just remember, the eighth house is usually investments or inheritances, or generally not money that we have actively worked for ourselves. So it tends to be other people's money or something like that. And so, yeah, and you've got Pluto, which is really shaking up your second house. So Pluto in your house of livelihood and material resources. He's been in there now almost, must be almost 2 years now, almost one and a bit. But he's going to be in there for at least another 18 years or so, bringing big change to how you support yourself, your relationship to money, how much power and worth you give to money, to yourself. And so these changes are going to be ongoing for a long time. And with Pluto here in a beautiful alignment, a trine to Uranus in your sixth house, there's a sense of that whatever is shifting in the way that you manage your money, in the way that you earn a living, that whatever those changes are, they're going to be reflected in the changes of this new moon as well. So perhaps a lifestyle change, perhaps a health development that makes you change the way that you are living your life, diet, exercise, the amount of stress that you're getting, for example. I see this as a very positive changes. And so it could be work as well. And because there is that connection here with livelihood and your day-to-day work environment as well. Yeah, so it might be something unexpected. I'd love to hear back from you, Capricorn, to let me know what is going on. And so Capricorn, you've got your, by the way, I just thought I'd mention you've got your ruler here in the fourth house still. So some very interesting focus on your house and home during this time. We're having Saturn here in this at slow slow moving transit of your 4th house. Yeah, I think that's all I wanted to say. Wishing you all the best, Capricorn. I'll talk to you next time. Aquarius. So Aquarius, you have the new moon in your 5th house. So your 5th house is the house of joy, self-expression, romance, children, creativity, artistic projects, hobbies or pastimes that bring you joy and pleasure. So there's something new starting here in the 5th house. Could be a new romance. It could be something unexpected and unusual. Somebody who's a little bit different. If it is a romance, for example, Uranus can be a little bit eccentric, unconventional, rebellious, forward thinking. It could be a new innovation in your 5th house that really brings a new project to new light or to a new direction. It could be a new hobby that you're starting. It could be potentially a new baby on the way as well. I mean, obviously, it can depend on your other, your personal chart as well, where your planets are, but certainly can be an unexpected pregnancy. Yeah, so that's beautiful in your 5th house. And there's a strong connection, obviously, too, with the 6th house. So the ruler of this new moon is Mercury. Mercury is sitting in your 6th house of work and service and health. And together with an exalted Jupiter. What a wonderful thing to have in your 6th house. So there's a real strong sense of kind of support and blessings for just your day-to-day routine, your health, you know, meeting all your obligations in life or your life admin, and work as well, work environment and work colleagues. So there's probably some really good support and perhaps some new learning that's happening, new organization as well in terms of the way you organize yourself. So 5th house, 6th house, I'm thinking it could be a family work project as well. But whatever it is, blessings from the 5th house of joy and enjoyment and creativity. And then you've got Venus has moved into your 7th house of relationship as well. So this augurs really well for having beautiful interactions with in one-on-one relationships. If you're in a partnership, committed partnership or marriage, this really speaks to having harmony, beauty, closeness, intimacy. It's very nice here in Leo. So a great time to show your appreciation for your loved ones. Very heartfelt as well. And then you have Pluto. So Aquarius, you've got Pluto in your 1st house, shaking things up. Amazing. So Pluto is the planet of great power. Pluto deconstructs and brings regeneration. Pluto brings hidden things up to the surface. And so really having Pluto here, you're in for the long haul of 18 years of really having some very, very big changes to your sense of identity and your sense of self. And so Pluto is in a beautiful trine to Uranus in your 5th house. So what this says to me is that, you know, as things are changing for you, as you're releasing things, learning things about yourself that were perhaps hidden before, perhaps becoming more acquainted with your own power, perhaps as well, that, you know, with that trine to Uranus, that you're really discovering new things about what it is that brings you pleasure, what it is that you enjoy, what it is that you want to express creatively. So I love that as well. That's really beautiful. Okay, I think that's it. Thank you so much, Aquarius. I look forward to speaking to you next time. Okay, Pisces. So Pisces, this new moon is happening in your 4th house. This is really beautiful. This is your house of home, parents, family. It's your nesting place, your privacy. It is, you know, the place where you, especially as a Pisces, like to go and hide, retire, rest. reset, restore, dream. And so there's new beginnings here. That could be, and with Uranus here as well. So this could be something surprising, something unexpected, something forward thinking in your home. So you could actually be moving home. There could be renovations, or perhaps something new is somebody new has moved into your home. Perhaps you bought another home if you're lucky enough to be able to do that. But there's some sort of new project, something fresh, new is seeding happening in your most private part of your life, your home. And there is a strong connection because we've got Mercury and the moon being in mutual reception. So Mercury, the ruler of this new moon, is in your 5th house of pleasure and joy and creativity. And in Cancer, there's that real sense of creativity and joy. It could be with children, loved ones, your clan, your family. Real sense of emotional nurturing and protection. So whatever's shifting in your 4th house is intimately connected with a sense of creativity and joy, perhaps family. It could be a new romance as well. And whatever you are expressing joyfully in the 5th or creating in the 5th is again beautifully reflected in your home and your family as well. So just beautiful. And you've got Venus sitting in your 6th house. 6th house, my teacher Adam says that he calls it the chopwood carry water house. So the 6th house is the house of all the things that we need to do to keep our house and our lives running smoothly. It's all the life admin stuff. It's, you know, getting over a cold. It could be an illness. It could be, you know, just all the things that subjectively are a bit of a drag sometimes, right? Cleaning the house, paying bills, going to work all the time, just all the tasks and chores and obligations. But you've got Venus in there. So it really brings that sense of greater beauty or harmony to that 6th house. So it's a lovely position to have there as well, and very giving blessings for your health as well. And what else I was going to say? Yeah. And just to mention for you, Pisces, I mean, just coming back to that 5th house, it is so beautiful because Jupiter is your ruler as well, ruler of your 1st house. And so having Jupiter here in that beautiful 5th house of joy, creativity, it's just like that beautiful trine happening to really give you that personal growth as well, because you've got the North Node here in your 1st house as well. So there is a sense of desiring something for yourself, about yourself, a desire to grow, to shift, to encompass more, to experience more in yourself as well, to grow. So yeah, I just love that. It's just that beautiful connection with the 5th house. And obviously, you know, Pisces is a sign of creativity as well, the sign of connection and beauty and creativity as well. So yeah, beautiful. I hope you really enjoy this new moon, Pisces, and that's it. So I am at the end. I tried to keep it short, but I never really do. I just want to thank you, everybody, for watching my video. I'm hoping it's not going to take me so long to do another one. It's just about timing, but I really do enjoy making these videos. If you'd like a reading, obviously these horoscopes are very general because a lot of it, well, it depends on where your personal planets are as well, as to how much things affect you and other things that I can't see. Obviously, if I can't see your chart, if you'd like a reading, please visit my website, www.life, so it's .lifetreeastrology.com. And you can contact me there for a reading. If you'd like, I try and do written report and horoscopes that go into a lot more depth as well. I try and do that for every new moon and full moon, as long as I can find the time. I put a lot more nuance and detail into that. So please visit lifetreeastrology.com/astralmusings. I'll put the details into the little information box underneath my video. All right. Thank you. I hope you guys have a wonderful new moon, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Okay. Bye.